Yes, yes, yes. We are back, and it is Wind Down
Down
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So, welcome back, good people. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you for listening and watching and coming back again this week. Y'all know what time it is. Every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever we are and whatever we doing, we going to stop and we going to bring it to you. So let's talk about it tonight. But y'all know who I am. I'm Sandy. I'm sitting here with my girl.
Hey, it's Shanice. What's good? Wind Down Wednesday. Y'all know how we do it each and every week. I got my Tug Radio shirt on. I'm ready to go. How was
Ready
your week,
to
friend?
go.
How was your week?
Hey, girl, let me tell you something. It has been wonderful. I have no complaints. Everything is going good. God is good. You know,
All
I
the time.
continue all the time. I'm continued to be blessed on a daily basis, 24/7. You know, I just can't complain. My family is good. My daughter is good. My closest and dear friends, everybody is doing well. You know, we often say no news is good news, but
That's right.
I say no news is God's news. You know, I'm gonna change that thing around. No news is God's news. So
There we
it's all
go.
good. I got the smile on my face. You know, some things are taking place. I'll tell you about it when we get off. But
Right.
it's going, it's going good. It's going. I'm thankful and grateful. I'm really thankful and grateful. I can't say it enough. I won't say it enough. But things are going well with me. So how are things with you and the fam?
I'm doing well. Right now, as y'all can see, I'm out. I'm on quote unquote off on location, but I didn't want to
Yes,
be indoors. I didn't want to be indoors even though it's raining. So I'm
right.
outside. I'm chilling. What's up,
Chilling.
AJ? Thanks for
What's
tuning
going? Hey, Jay. What's up? What's
My
up? What's up?
my week
So,
has been really well. I cannot complain. It's wind down Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week, and I'm still on this side of the dirt. So
yes,
I
sir.
still got work to do.
Still got work to do. My thing is, I saw my baby girl came in second place.
For sure. Yes, lots of track meet happening. First place in hurdle, second place in was 100 meter. So yeah, it was
I,
beautiful weather for track yesterday.
yes, and the weather was great. Um, it's so fickle here though in Cincinnati,
I
state of
know.
Ohio. You know, it's just you don't know
It may snow later. Who knows? You know.
exactly. You know, right now it's raining. We know it's raining. You know, it's like when is it gonna get hot? Then when it gets hot, we're gonna be complaining about the fact that it's too hot, and we're not gonna want to be outside. But you know,
I
I guess
love it warm.
I do too. I love the hot weather. I love the hot weather. You know, every time we turn around, it's like we complaining about something. But my thing is, I try not to complain about it. You know, just go on with it because ain't nothing you can do. Y'all know, ain't nothing we can do about the weather. Not a thing.
Period. Just be
Nothing.
grateful that we can open our eyes to see it happening.
Absolutely. The only thing we can do about the weather is stay in, get in the air conditioning when it's too hot, get an umbrella when it's raining. I mean, that's pretty much about all we can do because we can't do put your coat on when it's cold, earmuffs, boots, and gloves and everything. So that's that.
That's it.
Ain't nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
so
just grateful. I'm grateful for the small things. You know, my uncle just passed away. His funeral was this past Friday. So I just, every moment, every moment
right,
is snapshots of, memories. So I'm
yes,
grateful.
I'm grateful. Hey Tanya, what's going on? Tanya, I gotta ask you a
I
question
know,
too.
Tanya.
We ain't trying, but you know what? It was hot yesterday. It's raining today, so the water might be feeding those cicadas that's
Well,
coming because,
the ground got to be a certain temperature for them to come.
well, that's
So
what I know. So it was hot yesterday. Now, mind you, what 2 or 3 weeks ago it snowed, so it wasn't enough
yeah,
snow on the ground for anything. So it's been pretty warm since then. You know, we've had some good days where it hasn't rained, and
yeah,
then it was a little warm. So 70 degrees, 72 degrees, 75, 80. So that's pretty good. So now it's raining. So,
right. And it
uh,
snowed last week. This time it was snowing.
yes,
So,
AJ,
oh,
uh,
thank you, AJ. Thank you.
So the cicadas are coming. The cicadas are coming. But I'm gonna need all y'all help out there in a minute when we get to our topic, because it's really
The
I always
juicy.
I come up with these scenarios and I get them from people. But sometimes I'm devil's advocate too. But Tanya, I need to ask you a question. Um, and then AJ said, "Oh snap! First thunder of the year, girl. Let's not talk about it. Let's not even talk about it." This time every year I would be getting ready for a softball tournament. I did a softball tournament for 20 years, and every year, almost, it rained in May. I mean, every time we have 50 plus teams and it rained in May. It just never would give up. So
that sounds like opening day. Opening day
right,
is like that too.
we gonna see. We are definitely gonna see how these cicadas hold up and hold out here in Cincinnati. All I got to tell you is get your screens and whatever else. Check your clothes before you walk in the house. Shake them off because they
I'm
are
gonna be
coming.
in the house.
They are coming. Hey Tanya, did you win some money, like $100 on Russ Parr not too long ago? Because it sounds like your voice. They was asking you about the pig chicken or something. Chicken pig or something.
I hope it was her.
I hope it was her too. It sounds just like her, because he asked a crazy question and she was like, "You can't get it from a pig." So it sounds just like Tanya Moore. I don't know. I meant to call you, Tanya, to see if it was you. But if you won that $100, I hope you paid your 10% to the tithe and to the church. Oh, dang. She said it wasn't her.
To Deacon, what is it? To Deacon Missionary Saints.
Saints and friends. But that's too bad. No, it wasn't you. But it's a voice sound just like you on the Russ Parr. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about it. Now, we've been going through some things. The police have been really looking bad. They've been shooting and killing black folks like they picking off cans that's sitting on the fence. I'm just going to keep it 100. But I'm not going to try to stay on this topic too long, because I need to talk about something else that somebody brought to me.
We covered it kind of a little bit some last week. So.
We beat it to the Pope, and it's stuff that consistently happens. But this is my thing, and I ain't trying to be mean or sound like I have no sympathy for the families or anything, because I do. And you all know, I'll tell you if it's wrong. I'll absolutely say it. All you got to do is ask me, and I'll let you know if it's right. I think, I'll let you know from my standpoint what happened, how it happened, as far as training is concerned. But tell me this. This is what I want to know. Because don't nobody talk about this. We don't. The family don't. And the lawyers don't. Only people that talk about it is pretty much the police. But then once it go bad, they really don't talk about it. So what happens if the reason why all of this, some of these things, let me say that, the reason why some of these things are taking place is because there were warrants placed on individuals for their arrest. Now, so if there's a traffic stop and you got a warrant for your arrest, why is it that we never talk about the fact the reason for the stop, or the reason why they got stopped, is because there was a warrant for their arrest? We never address those issues. Then we never talk about the issues when they all on social media and everywhere. They got guns, they got flashing money, they smoking weed, they never talk about that stuff. And the only thing that we always hear is the positive things coming from their family. Oh, they were a good person. I know they were. And I'm not saying this does not mean that their life should have been taken. I'm saying, can we address the issue of why it happened and then move on over to the police were wrong for doing that? Now, we paint this picture, oh, they was getting ready to go back to school, oh, they was getting ready to do this since college, and they was getting ready to do that, and they had a job, and blah, 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 blah. Because at the end of the day, if I'm running around here slanging dope, beating women up or men up, causing problems everywhere possible, and warrants are out for my arrest for felonious assault, felony drug abuse, or whatever the case may be. Battery. Nobody talks about those things. I'm not saying that they should have lost their lives by any means, because they should not have. The police, I feel, were wrong But my point is, it's never talked about the reason why this all took place. Never. Because we said last week, we still ain't seen that $20 bill. We still ain't seen it. Ain't nobody talked about it. It ain't even came up.
Exactly.
So
And it was
ain't even
the
going in
thing,
the history book.
right? And it was the beginning of what's caused all of this.
Right.
You know, and it's like, it's the center. It's the most important piece. So where is it? It makes no sense.
Right. It's always, I feel like the most important piece is the fact that, okay, even police sometimes even discuss, well, the reason why we was pulling them over, the reason why we would had the warrant for their arrest is because of, but nobody ever talks about it. But anyway, I'm not going to be the dead horse, but I just wanted you all to just think about all of that. Never ever saying that their life should have been taken, because it should not have. There's just a lot of things. What I'm saying is we overlook the issues that started in the facts, that the reason why it started in the first place. We don't never think about that. We just look at what we see and then we move on from there. So anyway, I digress. And let's move on to let's talk about it. So here is my thing. And this is what I want to say to the people. Of course, I'm always working, and I'm always getting my information from the people that I work with, or around, or strangers on the street.
Always talking, always conversing.
Yes. So somebody asked me, so let's talk about love and relationship just for a little bit, just for a little while. We all need love. We all want love, and we all have love, but are we all in a relationship? Do we really want to mix all of that? Do we really want the relationship, or do we want to be loved without the relationship? Because I think that could happen too. You can be loved by friends without having a relationship with them. So somebody asked me, how can I find a woman like you? Wait for it. I'm gonna need a little help. ...
I'm
gonna need a little help. My answer is, I'm one of a kind. You ain't gonna find nobody like me. You're not.
Man.
And then he said, because I'm a good guy. Good guys like me can never find good women. And I was like, well, it depends on where you go, what you're doing, and who you are around, and how you're presenting yourself when you're out there.
Right.
But in order for them to meet somebody, they got to leave the house first.
Right. What circles, or what type of company are you keeping? And were you saying that you're a good guy? I'm sure we probably wouldn't want to find out from the exes if you a good guy or not. But if you a good guy, what's the problem?
Well, what's the definition of a good guy?
Exactly. And the question should be, right, exactly, what is a good guy? And what are you looking for? Because just because you feel like you're a good guy doesn't mean that that's what it is. That doesn't mean that, not saying you're a bad guy, but it's easy for us to be positive about ourselves and not see, some of the flaws or some of the things that we may have to work on and fix.
Here we go. What's up, Phil Penn? This is my brother. This is my brother from another. We always talking. Phil says, y'all saw what Phil says. He said women. He said y'all women. Here we go with the categorizing.
Oh,
now,
Lord.
which is what I don't like. You can't put us all you can't put us in the same boat, because we all ain't the same. But when you say y'all ain't acting right, Phil, when you say y'all
we need you to clarify. What does that mean? Y'all ain't acting
right? Because AJ said, what's acting right? What do you mean acting right? Now, hey, Phil, feel free to call me on my phone and explain yourself so that people can hear you, because I can put you on.
Yes, please make it make sense
on the speaker so that people can hear what you got to say. So feel free to call me and explain yourself, because when you say y'all women got to act right. Well, let me say this. Women act accordingly to what's put in front of them from that man. That's what I think. Now, if you've given me pure hell, I'm probably going to turn around and give you some pure hell back, just in a different way. You're going to get it.
True.
But I'm gonna give it in a different way. So when you say
y'all
act right, what is act right? And y'all, and I agree with you, it does go both ways.
Yes, for sure.
Anytime you're in a relationship, it should go both ways.
It's definitely
but I'm not trying to be in a relationship where I got to train a grown butt man to do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, nah.
No, I'm not doing that. So when he asks me, how does a guy like him find good women? But first of all, what's the definition of good? And how do I know you're good?
Right. What are you looking for specifically?
Yep.
You still ain't answered the question, Phil.
You all do act differently. You know we do. I mean, we talk about this all the time. You know we talk about this all the time. My whole thing is, Phil got a bad habit of telling me you need to act right. You need to act right. Well, what is act right? What is act right?
Definition. Now, right.
I'm not going, anybody that knows me, I'm not just going to bow down and just, you're not going to walk on me like a rug. That's not going to happen. Been through some things in relationships that I refuse to go through again. And it may, on both ends, it may make it very difficult for somebody to enter into that individual's life. In the same way with a man, he could have gone through some stuff that is very difficult for him to allow a woman to come into his life because of the stuff that he has gone through. So how do you overcome that? Do you give somebody a chance, or do you continue to be the way that you are?
No, and that's a great, a valid point. Like you can't, you have to be willing to give and take on both ends. And Phil said time will always tell whether you're right for each other, right? You have to be that balance, like, because you don't want to date somebody that's exactly like you. Like that makes no sense. You want that balance. You want that opposite, because they say opposites attract, right?
That's what they say.
The chemistry, it works better that way. I don't know what his definition of good is. He said he a good guy. What does that mean? It's so broad,
I don't know.
Are you a good guy that you pay the bills, and if she want to work, she don't got to? Or are you a good guy that way? Are you a good guy where you don't mind your lady work? Or are you a good guy where everything's 50-50? Like, what do you mean by good guy? Like, there's so many definitions to that.
But if you're not, and see, this is the thing. When you know somebody, you know somebody. And see, and I know this individual, but you got to get out. You cannot be afraid to get out and meet somebody. You cannot have anxiety when you're trying to go out to places to meet folks. You'll never have nobody. You're going to be sitting. This is my thing. This is what I said. You're going to be sitting in the chair watching TV with your hands in your pants. I'm just saying, because you ain't going to never find nobody.
Men, you definitely have to do the work. I just feel like it's such a role reversal nowadays. A lot of women are approaching men, calling men, proposing to men. It's just a different time, but I feel like, guys, you gotta do the work. You gotta step together. You gotta do the work.
I mean, my whole thing is, I think women should do the work too. I don't think the man should always be the one to do the work. Yeah, AJ. I told him he gonna be sitting up, being an old man with his hand down in his pants, watching TV. Just don't go nowhere. He don't do nothing. He don't know how to meet nobody. So you ain't gonna go out. I mean, you're not gonna meet anybody even close or similar to what you are looking for, because you're not out there.
Yeah.
You're not out there.
You gotta talk to people. You gotta interact with folks. Yeah.
You do have to. You sitting up there with a blanket on. I'm up here having hot flashes. Baby.
Yeah, it's a little cool out here. It's a little cool. I
get it. He says, Tuck, your personality is very outgoing, life of the party most of the time. So you should want somebody to balance you. And I do. I really do want somebody to balance me. And I'm praying that God sends me somebody to balance me. Working on it. But see the whole thing, Phil, I am working on me. I have worked on me. I've been working on me. So Lord knows
And that's
that
the thing, and that's the thing too. A lot of times we have to individually you got to work on yourself. You know, if you don't know yourself and don't enjoy spending time, doing things that you like and knowing what you want before you get out here to the day where it's gonna be very hard for you.
Yep. Very
Because you don't want to come off as needy. You know what I mean? You want to come off as, okay, I'm okay with spending some time myself. I would like to have a companion though,
Yep.
again, that balance, but focusing on you taking care of you, I mean, next thing you know, somebody, they may fall in your lap, but it's like, just like you say, you got to get out, you got to talk to people, you got to interact with people.
You have to. Because if you don't, at the end of the day, you will be by yourself. And I do feel like there is somebody for everybody. And it just depends on who that somebody is. But you, like you said, if you ain't not trying to meet them, if you ain't trying to be with them or trying to get introduced because you nervous and you scared, and then the next thing you know, you all dressed and ready to go, but then you turn around and you back in the house. I mean, that's not going to solve the problem.
I think also, Tanya said for Sandy, I think they have to have personality too. Yep.
They do have to have, for me, they have to have some kind of personality. If my whole thing is this, okay, with that being said, Tanya, if somebody does not have your personality or say my personality, particularly, let's say my personality, if an individual doesn't have my personality, can I change them or turn them around to have somewhat of my personality and then see how it works? Is that possible? Maybe not just for me, but for anybody. Is that possible to turn somebody around? You think it is?
I think it's as you get to know the person, once you meet them, as you interact more and more and more, some of the things that they do will reflect on you and vice versa. Like you'll bounce off each other. I always hear people say like, well, I thought you were silly. I thought he was silly, but you silly too. You know what I mean? Right. Like, but it wasn't always like that. So over time, you know what I mean? You learn to like loosen up, hang out, have fun, live life, laugh a little. You know what I mean? Those type of things.
Tony said, "No, we ain't going through that. We went through that. No, we ain't going through that. No, we went through all that. We ain't trying to go through that again." But my thing is, yeah, I'm telling you, because I dated somebody I thought was crazy, but here nor there, the personality was nowhere near like mine, but I have met people that their personality won't be like mine, and it's not going to ever be like mine. But
it shouldn't mirror it. No.
Phil said he ain't trying to change a personality.
Period. It is what it is. Take it or leave it.
But that's the balance. That's the balance.
Exactly.
If I'm outgoing and I like to do this and I like to do that, but the person that I'm with don't like doing all of that, does that mean that we're not compatible? Does that mean we're not a match? No, not necessarily so. No. Because there may be some other things that we are compatible with and how and all that other stuff. Just because a person does not do the things that I do when I'm out and about and having fun and a social butterfly does not mean that we are not going to be a match for each other or connected to each other or compatible, because there are other things that we may have in common that may just, that outweighs
right.
one or two other issues.
It's a give and it's a give and it's a take. I think a lot of times when people have their standards so up here, you know what I mean, so high, and I'm not saying with general basic things like respect, and I'm not talking about those things. I'm just saying
we got Phil Penn on the phone, and he gonna give us his take on it. What you say, Phil?
Well, when you talking about personality, there has to be a balance. You can't be an outgoing person, and this guy is a person that don't want to do absolute nothing. He got to meet you in the middle. He got to. So for you to say there's balance, yeah, he gotta have balance, but he gotta be able to support what you like to do. He can't just come out and you the life of the party, but he just sitting there like a damn hermit.
I agree.
And I'm gonna give you a personal. I'm not gonna say his name, but I have a good friend, one of my best friends, and that was that. And he's lost two great relationships. Because she say, Phil, all he wants to do is hang around the house. She said, and this was back when we was going to the Men of T.I. party, and I'm like, dog, come on, bro, let's go put some clothes on and hang out. You can't be mad if you're getting the attention outside and you ain't there to say nothing. You know, right. You can't.
You're right.
You can't. And so, and you know, we had a great time this weekend together. You know, last weekend with him, and I think he's learned. I pray that he's learned, but he lost two great relationships because he was just like, and I get it. His work schedule was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, and he was only off on every other weekend. So that was the excuse. But you, if your woman is telling you this is what I need you to do, this is what I want. You know, I'm guilty of it sometimes. You always checking me on some things.
I do.
So I try to make, I do make time for my wife. Even if I gotta schedule it, I make it.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yep, you do.
So you can't just say balance. I agree with balance, but he got to meet you in the middle. Like, you got a very outgoing personality. Even Jabron, I forget his. I'm having a brain, but even Jabron, I see you supporting your husband all the time. You right there at all his functions. So that support is very important in a relationship. You gotta have it.
You do got that. Yes, we agree, Phil Penn.
Yes,
Would you like to add anything else, sir, from a man's standpoint?
I mean, you just gotta meet him in the middle, and the one thing I wish I had in my relationship, and I know you got it, Tuck, and I'm not gonna mention who you seeing, but you got God in your relationship. I don't have that balance as far as religion, where we pray together and we worship together. That's the one thing that I am gonna change. I am gonna change. That's the one thing.
Thank you.
And I know you ain't talked about that, but I do believe that helps, because that's one thing that not only me and my wife missed out, but my kids missed out on.
Yes.
Right.
And you and I talk about that all the time, about the importance.
If there's one thing I could say that I would like to change in me, is having a stronger faith in what God has done for me. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
That's the one thing that I love about what you do, because I know you gotta have that love of God in his life. I wish I had that. Wait, all right, I'm done.
It ain't too late. Thanks, Phil Penn, for calling us. Thanks, Phil Penn, for calling us. Look, it ain't never too late to add that piece to your relationship. It is not. It is never too late to add it.
It's definitely a blessing and a lesson to know, to be able to say, like, hey, there's some things that I don't like. There's some things I want to work on. These are things I want to change. Like, most people, they won't, especially the younger generation.
Right.
Let me stress that. They hold on to it. It takes them a while before they're like, okay, you know what? I don't like this in me. I need to work on this. I want to change this.
Right.
It takes a big person to be able to get to the point where you say that. And a lot of people that's older or more mature, some of them, not all, stuck in their ways. They don't want to do nothing different. They are. And you're not going to find nobody doing the same thing.
And that's not a balance. And you would never find, because you're not trying to eliminate that piece. You still want to hold on to something that you should probably let go, so you can get out there and meet somebody. But hey, what's going on, Angela? Thanks for tuning in. Tanya said they can't be insecure. Tanya, feel free to call me if you would like, and you can add your piece and let the people hear what you have to say as well. Tanya said they can't feel secure or unable to handle your outgoing personality. No one should feel insecure about themselves, but you and I know, and everybody else know, people do. They feel very insecure or intimidated by another individual, which may
Right.
cause them to take a step backwards, you know. But I can appreciate Phil because he is absolutely right. You know, I
Yeah.
get on it all the time. He does take time out. You have to take time out for the person that you are trying to be with. You gotta let them know, because if you don't let them know, that relationship ain't going nowhere.
They gotta feel like just as much as you want to feel like a priority, they have to feel like a priority as well.
Yes,
Yes, it
Angela,
was.
that was
Was.
a great male's perspective.
Yes.
And one thing that I can always count on Phil is to do is to be honest and tell the truth about what it is. You know, he's straightforward and to the point about expressing himself, but he's one of few men that will do that. Most
Right.
men won't do that because they don't feel like it's taken away from their masculinity. You know, they're not one of the boys now because they can't be
They
truthful
spoke up.
about what took
Right.
place. Right. But I am a homebody fellow is a challenge. Yes, it is. I mean, it really is. If he's homebody, how can you be the one that's gonna get him out the house? How can you be the one that changes the way he thinks? Because anxiety kicks in as soon as he hit the door. Soon as he get dressed to go somewhere. How can you change that? And vice versa. Can a man change that in a woman if she's not trying to go anywhere or do anything after she meets him or after he meets her? How do you change that person? Can you change them at all? Would you even try to change them? But at the age we are now, who wants to go through all of that? Not me. But, you know, I do have God in my life. That's one thing that I pray for. And, you know, Chanice got God in her life, her and her husband, you know, they are very, we are God-fearing people. And we always talk about the importance of God being in your life. But Phil, it ain't too late. You can come on in to the fold, baby. Come on in to the fold. But I got this scenario for you all too. Tell me this. There's a couple that is in a relationship and they are together. The question is, if they are meeting, if this individual, this female, if her boyfriend got a phone call, follow me, people, follow me. I'm going to try to be real brief, but to the point. Her boyfriend got a phone call from the aunt. The aunt said, I'll be in town and would love to see you. He says, okay, not a problem. The aunt then therefore starts naming individuals to invite to the dinner. The aunt also knows he has a girlfriend. But the aunt never says out of her mouth, invite your girlfriend too. The aunt continues to name everybody else but the girlfriend. Not once, not one time during the conversation did the boyfriend say, my girlfriend is coming too. I'm bringing my girlfriend to dinner too. Not one time did he say that before he got off the phone. What do you think should have happened? And how do you think she feels? I'm gonna need a little help with that.
No, first of all, this is a two-way street type of thing for me. He should have spoke up and said, "Hey, I'm bringing her," but she should have spoke up and said something like, you forget something? You forget somebody?"
But do you say it? But do you say it during the conversation? This is me. I'm the very opposite of you. I don't feel that I should wait or talk about it after the fact, because during that conversation, if I'm sitting next to you and we sleeping and we doing all that, we going out, I'm feeding you, I mean, all of these things are happening in our lives with each other. We're committed to each other, you know. Why should I say something to you because you didn't speak up? You should have. I mean, you and I are the opposite. He should have spoke up. That's what I say.
He should have spoke up. And for somebody that's been with someone for a while, they should automatically know that. But now always say common sense isn't common. You can't assume. You know what I mean? Rightfully
Right.
so. You would say like, you know, we together. Why you ain't say nothing?
Yeah.
But obviously, she need to have a conversation. It's definitely out of order.
It's out of order with the aunt because
And then
that's
the aunt
a
would have got
disrespect.
checked because exactly total disrespect. He should have checked the aunt because it was his aunt that he's talking to about whatever it is that they planning, and she should have been included.
She should have been included. Phil said the aunt is out of order. What's going on, April? April said that's a given, without a doubt. And AJ said that's a huge problem. And then, yes, during the conversation, he should have said, I agree. Yes, Tanya agrees with April. And then Tuck said, Phil, remember? Yes, exactly. Same thing. How are you? That's my whole thing. That's a form of disrespect. You don't do that.
But at the end of the day, nobody can disrespect the person that you're with if you don't allow it. Whatever you allow, that's what's going to happen. But if he will nip that in the bud right then, because the aunt gonna keep coming sideways until she's checked, she gonna keep coming sideways.
But guess what he said?
And if you won't check her, you don't want me to check her.
Thank you. But he then tells the girlfriend, you're going to dinner with me. We're going to dinner together. But you should have told the auntie that. Now she got to go to dinner meeting some people that she ain't never met yet. Because he would have been able to tell everybody, I'm bringing my girlfriend with me. So she can be prepared and they can be prepared to meet each other for the first time. Who does that? Now,
that's awkward.
That is very awkward.
It's fishy. Like, auntie, who you about to have there that don't need to be there? You know what I'm saying?
So now I'm going to dinner. And she going to dinner with somebody that she don't know, so she can feel uncomfortable, knowing that the aunt didn't even want her there in the first place. Should she stay in the relationship or should she go? Now let's go back to what Phil said. Somebody we know, he done put the person's name out there. Somebody we know married. This is another issue. We talking about love and relationships now because we tired of talking about all that other stuff. Love and relationships. You know, how do you make them work? They're very difficult and they're complicated. Even when you're married,
it's a learning process every day. You learn something every day.
Married or single. My question is this. What should she do? First of all, it's boyfriend, girlfriend. They not married. But now let's get to this other scenario. Your husband, your current husband, gets an invite from the ex-girlfriend. Now, first of all, they weren't even married. Ex-girlfriend. But you are currently married now. But you were with the ex-girlfriend for years and you pretty much practically raised her children. They call you dad. They treat you like you are their dad. So when I'm getting ready to get married, he's getting married and he tells the dad, so-called dad, who raised him, you can come, but your wife can't come.
No.
What do you think should happen?
No, sir. Nobody's coming. How about that?
Should we be divorced now?
No, ma'am.
What should happen? Should we go to counseling now? Because
it shouldn't get to it.
Now she done cut out, but she'll be back in. Is that a form of disrespect? Who does that? But then too, will you go anyway? Will you go anyway? If that was a scenario you had to face, if that was a part that you had to play because you raised somebody else's kids, they not yours. They are not yours. So your current situation is that you are married, but they tell you you can come, but your spouse can't come. What you gonna do? And they ain't stepping up on your behalf. They ain't speaking up on your behalf. So my thing is this: do you go? Do you let them go by themselves? Do you give them an ultimatum to tell them, if you go, this is gonna happen? Or is the rest of your marriage with that individual going to be in jeopardy because they really did something that they probably shouldn't have done? Because at the end of the day, me personally, this is how I used to do, but this is my child though. If I couldn't go, I was not going anywhere if Courtney couldn't go when she was younger. So I'm not going. Don't invite me. If my spouse can't come or my boyfriend or fiance can't come, I'm not going. I'm not going. Thanks for the invite, but I'm not going. But at the end of the day, if they turn around and they say, okay, they can come with you, would you still go anyway? Because now you feeling another kind of way and some other stuff that took place and some other stuff that happened. Will you still go anyway? AJ says she going. And Phil said it was initially exactly.
Amen, Phil. Amen. You better tell them. You better tell these guys. Because guess what? You get an invite, you decide you going, we going.
But I'm like Phil, you can't go against your spouse.
Okay. Are you crazy?
You got to figure it out. Because my whole thing, I'm like, no, Tanya, I wouldn't go either. If they can't go, I'm not going.
That's the wise choice to not go.
But once again, if they say, okay, you can come and bring them, would you still go, knowing they didn't want you there in the first place? Now you're talking about an uncomfortable feeling.
That's Katie.
He should stay at home, no doubt. My thing is this: if you go, how do you think they're gonna react and act towards you? What do you think is gonna happen if you go? If y'all go together, how do you think they're gonna treat you? Because they didn't want you there in the first place. I only invite people to my parties that I want to be there. And my whole thing is, don't be asking nobody else to come to my stuff when I didn't invite them in the first place. That's the problem that I have. Don't do that. Now that's a form.
It should be just like an unwritten rule. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should know that. But again, you can't say common sense is common because
Now we're not going. Common sense ain't coming,
we're not
going.
It's not.
We're going to sit at home. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have a discussion, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't have made a decision to say you was going anyway without me.
Right.
That's another issue.
That's a no-no.
Because that's what they did. What's going on, Nidra?
Hey, Robert.
What's up, Robert and Nidra? No, we're not going. We're not going. If we're in a relationship, if I'm your girlfriend or whatever, if I'm your girlfriend, fiance, wife, baby mama, and we together, whatever, but you can't come because you can't bring baby mama, girlfriend, fiance, wife, then guess what?
My thing would be, what is the purpose of you inviting me if you get married? Like, why do I need to? I don't need to be there. You're getting married. I don't need to be there.
But that was years ago too. You raised them kids years ago. You ain't been with their mother in a long time. So why would you do that?
Let that ship sail, baby. Let that ship sail.
Should I go to dinner? So should I go to dinner with the aunt who made all these plans? Should I go to dinner with the aunt? Or should I go to the wedding?
That's a mess.
Or should I just say, we ain't going and we have a powwow, and at the end of the day, are we going to stay together? Now, if I'm boyfriend and girlfriend, now that's something major, because we ain't married.
Right.
We ain't married. Well, I mean, because that's something to think about. Do you stay with
I know,
them?
right, AJ? I'm right here with you. I'm ready too. Like, we going, I'm looking a bomb. You hear me?
Well, you know, when you step in any room, when you step anyway,
out here.
But that's a form of disrespect.
The boyfriend, girlfriend, that's just, oh my God.
That's a boyfriend, girlfriend situation. But the other one was a husband, wife situation.
Yeah, nah.
So at the end of the day, what do you do? You know, what do you do? Is that a lack of trust? Is it a lack of disrespect? What is it? What is it? Because at the end of the day, you got to respect me enough to put that person in place.
Right.
to
Yep.
check them when they calling you on some foolishness
Yep.
and telling you that's just like you telling me, hey Sandy, you can come, but you can't bring your friend. Who does that?
Doing the most. They just doing the
They
most.
doing the most. Simone says it's a form of disrespect. I agree.
Super
You're
disrespect.
disrespecting the relationship, and you're definitely disrespecting me. And I'm not going to allow either one of them because I know how I am. I will cut you. Anybody that knows me,
Okay.
I
Period.
won't cut you with a knife, but I will cut you. I will cut you off. We will have no more connection. And and you know what? As much as I may love you, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to find some love deep down inside and forgive you, because I'm telling you right now, that's hard. And it's hurtful and painful.
It is. And I know I'm not gonna double talk you while you're on the phone, but best believe when you get off that phone conversation, there's gonna be a conversation to be had. You may be calling your auntie back, or I might be calling her. Because guess what? That's what we not doing.
And I'm not going to make no threats. I'm not going to tell you to go to the wedding if you want to, or go to dinner if you want to. I'm not going to do all that. Just note that when you get that cold shoulder.
I guess it depends how long you've been in a relationship. Because smart people already know what the deal is.
But see, that's the difference. And that's the difference between being married and being in a relationship.
That's true.
And once again, they didn't have kids together, but he raised them as though they were his. So biologically, they were not his children.
But that's rude in itself to even give me to even invite me, knowing that you know that I'm married now. Regardless of what, I'm not with you anymore. There's really no need for me to be there. So why would my spouse not be there? That's rude in itself. That's just flat out rude.
But my question is to that is, what made the aunt not invite the girlfriend, and what made the
boyfriend not say nothing?
The non-biological children not invite the current wife. This is the thing. We all talk about all of this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, what really happened? Something took place in between that, or maybe, something may have taken place where they didn't feel like they wanted to invite them. Or something may have taken place where they didn't want them. They just wanted to feel like family only. And other people were outsiders.
No excuse. No excuse.
I don't know. I'm saying we can all sit here and Monday morning quarterback, and we all know individually what you would have done, what I would have done, what anybody else would have done. We know these things already. But me, at the end of the day, we are going to have that serious conversation. You are not going to get off that phone, because when you on that phone, I'm going to be looking at you pouring a
like you got 10 heads. Like, real seriously?
Baby. I'm going to look at you.
But here's the thing. You know me, though, so I ain't even got to do that. You already know me, so we ain't going to have that problem.
But then how do you pick up the pieces and move forward, though? How do you pick up the pieces and move forward? Because that's important. If you love this individual, if you want to stay with them, you have to pick up the pieces and move forward.
It's definitely a learning experience.
It's a learning experience.
And it may be one that some will tap out of and say, I'm cool on that. And it may be a learning experience where, okay, we're going to work through this. What's the next thing? You know what I mean? Coming our way.
And let me tell you, it was my 50th birthday party. Tanya was there. My 50th birthday party. And it is a true story. All of the stories that I just told you, the scenarios are true. So my 50th birthday party, there are certain people in my parties. I invite certain people. My expectations is not for anybody else extra to come if you were not invited. If you show up, I do have bouncers at the front door that will escort you out because you were not invited. So don't come because you think you are +1 with somebody else without asking me, can you come or can you bring somebody in the first place? That's how I am. I'm very private about what I do. I don't like my stuff being out there to everybody. So if I'm having an event or a small gathering or a celebration, It's nothing against you if I don't invite you. It's just that there's certain people in my corner that I'm very, very, very close to that will get that invite before you. So anyway, my 50th birthday party was huge. It was big. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. So, but before I had my 50th birthday party, I made a phone call. I said to the individual, should I invite my ex? And they told me, they said, well, I thought you would have invited them anyway. And I said, no, not really, because we ain't got that kind of relationship. It's not that kind. But we had just gotten back on speaking terms and all this, that, and the other stuff. Because, you know, I'm a new person at the age of 50, doing a new me at the age of 50. So I said, okay, let me talk to my baby. I said, what do you think? And how do you feel? So she said, Mom, that's totally up to you. If you want to do it, I'm fine with it. I said, okay, I'm a new person. I'm 50. I'm 50 and fabulous. So it's a new thing.
But not looking a day over 25.
Thank you very much. Mind you guys, this is 6 years ago. 6 years ago. So this ain't current. I'm 56. 6 years ago. So me, being the new person and the person that I am, I called them and I said, hey, you're more than welcome to come to my 50th birthday party because your sister would be there, your brother-in-law gonna be there, and blah, blah, blah would be there. So, you know, if you want to come and see them and whatever, that's fine. The question that they asked me was, could they bring their current girlfriend? And you could have heard a pin drop in a haystack. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, my invite was not going outside of you. My invite,
but at least they asked instead of just showing up.
That is my point. That is the whole point. At least they asked. They just did not bring anybody. You know, they just did not show up with anybody. They did ask if they could do it, but you could hear a needle in the haystack. A real needle. You could have heard a needle in the haystack on the other side of that phone, which meant no. So at the end of the day, you don't come. I'm good with that because they can't come. Yep. And I'm okay with that. But they did ask that question. So the answer
which is smart.
Yep. April said, if he practically raised the children, how does he maintain a healthy relationship with the children? Good question. Should he cut the children off as well by not attending weddings, graduation, etc.? I don't know the connection. I don't know if they still.
And then how old are the kids? How old was it?
What up, Akeem? There he is. There he is. I don't know the connection between the children and him. I don't know if it's still a connection, or I don't know if they felt obligated because he did help raise them from babies to a point where they became adults. I don't know.
And that makes sense, but rightfully so, respectfully, is that they're with someone, and especially married to someone. You don't do that. That's very rude. It's very intentional. It's very intentional. It's intentional rudeness, in my opinion, regardless. They've moved on. You're just getting to a place where now you're going to get married. So you're going to feel, you know what I mean? You want somebody to respect your covenant, your relationship. That's just so rude to me.
It is. And regardless of what happened and how it happened, why would they even feel that they should do that anyway?
Right. Why would they feel that's okay? And she's going to get married. How does she feel that that's okay?
Right.
I'm lost with that one. That's so super beyond disrespectful.
Right. Is it because, and I don't know, it could have been because he didn't ask her to marry him, or he didn't marry her, which is his mother. I don't know all of the details behind it.
It still doesn't make no sense. Nothing that you can tell me that's going to make that make sense, because you're getting married now. So it shouldn't matter, right? If you're inviting me, you're inviting us. We're one.
And you're an adult.
Right? Like you're about to be one.
Right.
So same concept.
you're an adult, and if he was raised or she was raised properly, the thing is you invite the current person that they're with. I mean, period. You invite them and their spouse, girlfriend, whatever. So I don't know, but you're right. It could have been all of those scenarios, April. I don't know. But at the end of the day, what difference it make? I don't think it makes any, because if you raised me, and even though you didn't marry my mom or my dad, come on now.
At some point in time, the children have been around his spouse. If he's that connected
Right.
to those children, then at some point in time, they have met his wife.
Yep.
So therefore, why would you invite him and not invite his wife? Like, what are your true intentions? You know what I mean?
Exactly. So at the end of the day, we all have decisions to make. We need to make them that's beneficial to us, because at the end of the day, I don't live with you. You don't live with me. You're married to your husband, fiance, you're getting ready to get married, whatever it is.
Right.
You're with that individual. So you have to make a decision on whether or not you're going to benefit from it or not. Are you going to allow it to rip your relationship apart?
Right, exactly. And each individual have to set those boundaries for outsiders. Whether
Yes.
you're dating or married, you have to set those boundaries so that people will know, hey, this is how we operate. If you come
Right.
to one, you gotta come to other, or we're one package. It's no
That's
separation.
right.
And you have to let each spouse have to let that person know, because they may not know. They might try it over on this end and not on that end. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you have to let them know what the boundaries are in your relationship, and that's on both ends. That's on him. That's on her.
And you have to let your family know those boundaries, because those are the first ones that
For
don't
sure.
want to interfere with love and your relationship with your mate. The family is the number one. They're the number one suspect.
If you allow them, because at the end of the day, you ain't gonna go to bed with them. You ain't going to
No.
sleep with your cousin.
No.
You're not going home with your cousin, your auntie, none of that. You ain't going to sleep with your auntie. So those boundaries need to be set for whoever, whether it's family,
Absolutely.
friends, whoever. Doesn't matter.
At the end of the day, it's up to you and your mate. The decisions that you all make for each other, not for one person, but for each other. You know,
That's
there's
right.
some things that along the way, the age that we all are now, that we've learned, you know, and we hope that the
Yep.
things that we've learned, we can actually teach our children, you know, and they'll gravitate and they'll pick it up on what to do and what not to do. But
For sure.
I'm a firm believer, keep toxic people away from you
Yes.
and out of your relationship, because it can
And
cause.
at the end of the day, you can try to be an example all you want to, but some people got to walk their own path and allow. And life lessons, like walking through life, that's the best teacher. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
But you got to listen to those that have gone through that experience too,
That's
though.
for sure.
You don't have to take heed. You don't have to follow everything, but at least you need to listen to
Yep.
those that have gone through it, that have experienced it, and that can tell you things from their experience.
That's
And
right.
I'm telling you from experience, keep toxic people out of your relationship,
Yes. Yes.
out of your marriage, because if you love someone, you don't want them to interfere in your relationship.
Yeah.
You want to have a peace of mind, period. And sometimes it's unfortunate, but our kids are toxic. You know, they are
Yeah.
toxic to our relationship. And the thing about it is, if your kids don't like your current girlfriend or boyfriend, what do? Is that important? Is that important piece in the relationship?
Yes, it is. Because it's a lot of blended families out here, and some of them are doing very well. They've came to a point where it works for them, and some blended families are a total mess because of the kids knowing that friction, causing that friction between the two of them.
Yes.
Pulling at their mom or pulling at their dad. And again, you have to set those boundaries even with children.
Yes, you do. Even with children, you got to set boundaries, because children can interfere and cause you to lose out on so much and miss out on a blessing that you didn't even know it was a blessing until it's gone.
Listen, You gotta sit.
I'm just saying.
They gotta stay in the child's place.
Yep. And you should keep them in a child's place. But you know, it is what it is. You got to figure out the love that you have in your relationship and how will it last? How long will it last? Or will you allow anything to interfere?
Yep.
I mean, you know, that's just, will you allow it to interfere?
Yep. It's
Because
gonna make you or break you. Just
that's right. That's
choice?
right. if you allow it to interfere, just think about how much you could be missing out on, how much you will lose by allowing something to interfere that should have never happened in the first place. And I told somebody on last week, I said, communication is the key to everything. I don't care what it is.
In any relationship. That's right.
That's what I love about Phil Penn. You may not like what he says, and he may say too much, and he may tell more than he should be telling. But in everything he gonna tell, it's gonna be how he feels, and he gonna communicate it very well, not just with you, but anybody else that's around. And that's what I love about him. He don't care. He gonna communicate well. So if he's communicating like that with me and with you, can you imagine what he's doing at home?
Right. Yeah, it's an important piece.
That's an important piece with family, love, and relationships.
Yes, yes. But no communication, a lot of assumptions happen. And I don't know about you, but ASS, I don't want to be an ass.
Absolutely. Don't want to be one. Ain't never wanted to be one, and ain't trying to be one. I'm too old to be that.
Listen, no assumptions. We're gonna ask questions. We're gonna get to the bottom of it. We're gonna problem solve, all that.
So talk about it, be about it, but most of all, pray about it.
For sure.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So y'all know what time it is. You know, we come to the end of the show where we got to tell y'all a couple things and give y'all a few pointers. And so we'll talk to you next week. But don't forget, if you want to be a part of this show, send me an inbox message, send me an email, send me a text, whatever you want to do. We'll have you on. You got a topic you want us to talk about, please feel free to send us the topic and we'll discuss it. But if you got a friend that's trying to look for someone, I got a friend that needs a good woman. I got a friend that needs a good woman. But
all right, yeah.
I don't know how much work they need. The only thing that I always do with my friends, I introduce them. There's somebody for everybody. There's somebody for everybody. So if you got anything that you want to discuss, hey Phil, we appreciate you for giving us a male perspective.
Thank you for that wisdom from a man's perspective.
I don't feel it's enough men that come on and speak truth, but I can always count on my brother to come on and speak truth because a lot of people don't want to be seen or heard doing this kind of stuff, especially when you talk about relationships. I would love to have a sex therapist. Anybody know a real sex therapist on the show?
Male and female, one of each. One of each.
On the show, we would love to have them because I think a lot of times the older we get, and especially this is another show, but before we leave, because it's got a lot to do with love and relationships. Because my thing is, sex have a lot to do with relationships. Sex have a lot to do with marriages. Sex have a lot to do with a whole lot of things. So if anybody knows a sex therapist, a real one, male and female, that will be willing to come on and talk about sex.
Yes. And we know that our viewers are globally, so it doesn't matter where you are. We would love to have you. Inbox
us. We will respond back because there are some questions that you may need to ask. And we would be more than happy to ask them for you and with you, with a therapist on the show. So that's what I would love to have on. I wish I could have it on the next show. But since taxes are due May 5th, May 15th, we might be talking about taxes. And so y'all know, you have to pay taxes on that stimulus money. I'm telling y'all,
yes,
don't pay
you do. Yes, you do. Don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool. Thanks, Phil Penn, for your input. Thanks, people, for listening. So we're going to be out of here. But before we leave, we got a positive quote for you.
My positive quote is simple. Communicate. Communicate in all things, in all aspects of work, in all aspects of life. At work, at home, to family, to friends, to your spouse, to your dating partner. Communicate. Learn how to express yourself where you can be understood, where it can be as clear as possible, and ask questions. No one knows it all. So ask questions, communicate, talk. Nothing's a dumb question. That's the only way that we learn, and it's the only way that we do better. So communicate.
I agree. In law enforcement, or when you're out and about in the communities, you hear the saying, if you see something, say something.
Yep.
Why don't you use that same motto in your relationship, in your marriage, whether it's with your husband, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whoever? If you see something in that relationship that you don't agree with, or that you feel that you need to express, you need to say something. Because if you're holding it in, it's not going to do anything but burn you up internally, and it's going to destroy the relationship. So at the end of the day, if you see something in the relationship that you don't like, or that you do like, say something, because everything ain't always bad. There's good too. And we need to acknowledge more of the good than we do the bad. So if you see something, say something. But y'all know what I do. At the end of the day, it is always better to give than it is to receive. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, same time.